Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I appreciate you supporting my effort in making YouTube videos on motorcycles. So today I've got my very fabulous Suzuki VanVan, 200 cc's of awesomeness. This is probably, I think, one of the greatest beginner motorcycles you could possibly learn to ride on and own for your first year of riding. Awesome bikes. If you can find one, I highly recommend you get it. They were only in the US for about 3 years. They're great. Absolutely love them. Anyway, that being said, I'm going to do a mod today. I am going to be changing out the stock exhaust system. As you can see, this is completely stock pipe, stock headers. It's super quiet. Doesn't make very much noise at all. In fact, let's start her up. We're in neutral. As you can see, I can talk quite normally over this engine, and it is the exhaust makes it very, very quiet. So smooth and quiet. Anyway, a friend of mine who owns a motorcycle training range and has a bunch of these bikes bought a new used one for his, and it came with some accessories, which he very kindly gave me. So I have got a full stainless steel custom exhaust pipe with stainless steel header. That's going to be going on. And lay that down gently. I've got a very awesome beach rack. So this is the large oversized beach rack for putting your surfboard on the back, your groceries on the back. It's got a small rail right now, and I thought, why not? Let's put a big boy back there. It's always useful to have extra storage space, especially if you're cruising around the neighborhood and you want to attach your helmet to the back with a lock, or your gear to the back with a lock, or you're just doing some shopping and you want more space on the back. So I thought it'd be rather fun to add this. So those are the two add-ons I'm doing today, the exhaust system and the rear rack. So if you're interested in me attaching these to the bike and how I do it, it should be relatively simple. It's just bolts off and then new bolts on, and old stuff off and new stuff on. Thanks for watching again. Please like, please subscribe, share with your friends, and I look forward to getting this on. Ride safely, guys and girls. Come home alive. Alrighty, so this is the stock exhaust on the Suzuki VanVan 200. Little tiny pea shooter exhaust with a huge rear can. So here's the system, which goes down to here. We've got a clamp bracket there that attaches the main header to the system. We've got a hanger bracket here, and then up here we've got another rear hanger for the rear can at the back. This is the exhaust sensor that goes into the carb, fuel injection, and then we've got two bolts on the header pipe that goes into the engine casing. So we've got to undo those two. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts to undo. That should be able to take everything off, pull it through, and put the new one on. So before I do that, let's start up the bike and listen to the sound of the mighty stock exhaust system. So that's at idle. It's a very quiet exhaust, but this bike is not being used on a training range per se. I do use it for training, for new students to learn to ride on it, but I thought, oh, it'll be fun just to add this stainless steel exhaust system. And you know, if I don't like the sound it makes, if it's too loud, or whatever, I can always take it off and put this back on again. So pretty pretty mellow sound for an exhaust pipe. But then again, it's a 200cc, so what do you expect, right? Nothing spectacular. Okie dokie, so as with most of this stuff, I'm kind of just sucking it and see. Suck it and see. I'm not following a manual, I'm not following instructions. I don't know if I should take the header off first or the rear tailpipe off first. I'm going to take off the can first. 12mm socket for the rear hanger. Lefty loosey. Loosen that up. Then we've got this one down here that holds to the rear foot peg frame. 12mm again. Lefty loosey. Loosen that up. Then we've got the bracket in here that is the clamp that holds the system to the headers. Loosen that up. Oof, that is tight. There we go. That's the clamp loose. So now, once we take off these two bolts, this whole system should just pull off. Theoretically, I've got a nut at the back. And just right. So what's that? A ½ inch. Yeah. Okay, so that one's undone here. We're going to push that one through. It's got rubber clamps on it. A bung. And I'm going to have to reuse this mounting hardware, more than likely. So that's just nut, washer and bolt, which went through. So we'll hold on to that. Now that's loose. So let's do the same down here on this one. Is there a nut on that? Yes, there is. So you're going to have to come in onto the inside of that through the box frame. Now I have no idea what brand of exhaust I've been given. The ones that I've seen come out of England, I think they're called Black Widow. There we go. Nut, bolt. Oh, there's no nut there at all. It's welded on, so you don't have to worry about that. So now we want to make sure the clamp is unloosened. Give it a little twist and pull backwards. Ah, there we go. That was easy. Wow, this thing's heavy. That is surprisingly heavy. This weighs something. God, I'm surprised how heavy that is. All right, so here's the stock one versus the stainless steel one. And I will say, I haven't weighed it, but I would say it's about half as light. It's a little more than half as light, or twice as heavy. Should be half as light, twice as heavy. The stainless steel one is a little more than half the weight of that. Definitely. I need to put it on some scales, but yeah, that's significant weight savings. And there's the header pipe connection right there. Boom, boom, boom. And there are two of these, one here and one here, and these take a metric number 6 socket, not socket, Allen. So that's what you want. You could use a big Allen wrench if you have one. Otherwise, I have a socket set with different numbers. So this is a M6. Yep, number 6. So that fits perfectly. So two of those need to be undone to remove the flange and the exhaust gasket that holds the header to the cylinder. So that's next. Undo that, and then this should come off, and then we have to undo the sensor which goes into the side of the system pipe. and add that to the new one. You can now see, here we go, back it up a little, there we go. Alright, so here's my exhaust sensor for the carb, and I need to undo it underneath here. In order to take it off, I'm going to have to take off the metal plate here on the back, which protects it. So 2 bolts here, undo that, then undo the sensor, and then do everything in reverse to put it onto the new system. 10mm. So 2 10mm sockets here. Alright, so there's the second one out of that. Boom, boom, boom. Now this should come off, which it does. Nice. But it won't come off all the way. All it will do is expose the nut. So now, hopefully I have a... No. Alright, we're going with an adjustable monkey wrench to remove the exhaust sensor. Whoa. Now remember, go slowly on this as well, because you're turning the wires on themselves, so you don't want to... Boom, boom. Loosened off and out, and there's the system, the header rather, there's the header pipe off. Stock header is off, we'll lay that down. Now you can see the exhaust sensor here is pretty nasty. I'm going to clean this up with some steel wool. Okie dokie, so quick clean up on the exhaust sensor. I'm gonna steel wool that. This is just fine steel wool. Microfiber cloth, there we go. Much better, so much neater, cleaner and nicer. Now we can go back to our new stainless steel system. And I'm going to install the sensor. I'm going to twist this the way it was twisted up first, which is clockwise to the right. Twist up the wires, insert, twist, twist, twist. Get them nice and tight, because you're going to be going the other direction to tighten this thing up on the threads. And then make sure it's not threaded and start it off. There we go. So there you go. Back in, threaded down, wires are straight. Give it a quarter turn. Crank it down. There we go. Nice and tight. Now you want to bring the manifold cover back on. Ah, interesting. So this does not have... Huh. I kind of should have checked that beforehand. There's no studs for this to attach to. So this needs to come off. Duh. Live and learn, there's always something, right? So now you gotta take it off. Bollocks. Loosen, undo. What a waste of time, Jesus. I'm going counterclockwise, so lefty loosey. Now take that off. You're not going to be using this. You can go with the stock exhaust. We're going to continue to tighten that. Now we're going to go back in. Make sure the wires are coiled before you there we go. Thread that back down, tighten up. Alright, good. Alright. One thing I don't mind doing is showing when I screw up. It is what it is, right? So, that being said, here is the exhaust sensor now in place. Okay, header is loose. We're now gonna go back to our original studs and exhaust gasket. So I really don't want to put a bent stud back in. Just going to finger tight this to hold it in place. Now I'm going to go look in my box of bolts and see if I've got a replacement. You probably can't even see this, but no, it's not going to show on camera. It's very slightly tweaked on the tip. All right, so luckily I got a bunch of spare bolts with Allen heads. Here's my wonky one that has a bend in the end, which is what I'm replacing, and I've got 3 choices of slightly longer ones, so I'm probably going to go with the I don't know, which it doesn't really matter, one with the larger head to go into the cylinder head. So all good, just replacing one of the bolts, and fingers crossed that does the job. One started. Now there's no other gasket holding the pipe in, it just butts up straight up to the cylinder head with the metal flange on the top, so that's all there is. So you kind of want to hold this square, and that's just, I can't even describe it, it just feels like it's flat. It feels like there's no resistance. The screws are there you go. You want it to go up and down, not horizontally at an angle, so there's no wobble like that. So as you pull up the slack, just go nice and slowly. There we go. Don't go silly tight yet. Just enough. Just snug it up like so. So it's no movement. You could move it if you crank on it, but otherwise than that, don't mess with it. A little bit of movement. So now we've got the exhaust flange attached. We've got the sensor on. Everything's bolted up here. So now we want to take our system. Come in. I'm just pushing it on here as best as I can. I'm going to loosen that up a little. Oof. Back it up. Oh, this is loose. So up and down movement and a push in. Nice. Now your mounting bolt needs to line up and go back in. That's the midpoint one. Good. Now you've got your flange. Alrighty, so there she is installed. The new stainless steel headers, system, rear can, everything bolted up, everything tightened up. The only thing that didn't come with the exhaust system was the hanger strap, so I just fashioned myself one out of some plumber's strap. Get yourself a roll of that stuff. It's just literally cut a strip of it and drill a hole through it to match the bolt size, and there you go. I'm going to get something nicer from my motorcycle supply store or off of Amazon, a new hanger strap that isn't perforated, just a solid wide strap that will work with this and look a little bit nicer. But for now, it's on there and it is solid. So all in all, that is the stainless steel system. And I was looking at the end of the pipe here, and if you zoom in on the end of the pipe here, it says fish, F-I-S-C-H. Let's start this thing up and see how she sounds. I think you'll agree that sounds a lot better. It's not insanely loud, but it's got a nice little blop, 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 blop. think you'll agree that is night and day better. I'm really pleased with that. Love it. So here's the stock system off. Keep that in a box. In case I ever decide to sell the bike, it can go with the original stock exhaust system. And then really pleased with the new stainless steel system. The sound, the looks, less weight. I think that's awesome. Very cool. Very nice. I'm very happy.